Escape. Escape tonight to ancient Egypt.
The Columbia Broadcasting System and its affiliated stations presents Escape, a new series of programs of which this, the sixth, is The Ring of Thoth by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, produced and directed by William N. Robeson. Wherever the English language is spoken, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle is known for two things: his immortal character, Sherlock Holmes, and his unshakable belief in life beyond the grave. So great is the stature of Sherlock Holmes that Conan Doyle's earlier stories are all but forgotten. Stories like The Ring of Thoth, which so clearly anticipates the author's later fascination with spiritualism. We invite you now to escape to ancient Egypt and The Ring of Thoth, an adventure told in the words of John Vansittart Smith, British Egyptologist.
I arrived in Paris on the 3:14 express from Dieppe and went immediately to my hotel in the Rue de Lafitte. My actions so far had worked out according to my planned schedule. I slept for exactly 2 hours, got up and dressed, donned a greatcoat, walked down the Avenue de l'Opéra, and entered a side door of the Louvre. Once inside, and amid surroundings entirely familiar to me, I made my way immediately to the Chamber of Egyptian Relics, or more specifically, to the cabinet in that chamber which contained the El Kab collection of papyri. Drawing out the particular roll I wished, I placed it on a nearby table, sat down, began to study it, when I noticed one of the museum attendants who was polishing some brasswork across the room. His face struck me as being curiously Egyptian. On sudden impulse, I decided to cross the room and speak to him. Approaching closer, I was impressed at once by the appearance of his skin. Drawn tautly across temple and cheek, it seemed as glazed and as shiny as varnished parchment, and out of narrowed slits there glowed two green and vitreous eyes, misty with a dry shininess, eyes of a kind never seen in a human head before. I beg your pardon. I need one of the papyri from the Memphis collection. Could you tell me where it is?
You'll find it in the last cabinet at the end of the room, monsieur.
Thank you. You're Egyptian, aren't you?
No, monsieur. I am a Frenchman.
But, I thought perhaps
If
that...
monsieur will excuse me now, I have other work to do.
I went back to the table and took up the papyrus I had been studying before. But my former calmness in translating the intricate hieroglyphics was gone, and out of the depths of my mind welled a feeling of terrible familiarity. I concentrated more deeply on my studies, pushing aside those thoughts conducive to mental turmoil, and at last, worn out by the inward struggle, I fell asleep. I awoke with a start, not remembering where I was. It was quite dark for a moment. Then gradually my eyes focused on the glints of moonlight reflected from the glass tops of specimen tables, from the shiny varnish of the mummy cases. And I realized with a feeling of sudden dread that I was alone in the Egyptian room of the Museum of the Louvre, locked in for the night. And I saw at that moment, approaching through the moonlit halls, a dim yellow flame. Nearer and nearer it came until I could perceive above it, as though floating in the air, the eerie, glistening face of the man I'd spoken to earlier. I shrank into the dark shadow of my corner, and he passed without seeing me, stopping before the mummy cases a few yards away. Scarcely daring to breathe, I watched him place the light on a table and begin feverishly to examine the tags on the specimens. In a moment, he gave a cry of delight and, drawing one of the mummies from its resting place, laid it on the table in the full glow of the lantern and set to work. He was unwinding the wrappings from the head of the corpse. A few turns revealed a tumbled cascade of black curls. A few more, the snow-white brow, then the delicate nostrils, and at last, the full, warm, passionate lips, the face of the most beautiful woman the world has ever seen.
Ah, ma pauvre petite. So long it has been, so very long. You must forgive me, beloved.
I could hardly believe my eyes. The man was obviously in love with this mummy. After a while, he left the body, turning his attention to one of the glass cases filled with an assortment of rings. From a pocket of his garment, he'd taken a small glass bottle containing some kind of liquid, and he used this now to test the rings, rejecting them one after another. Then, at last...
This is it. It's the one. At last I found it. The ring of Thoth.
In his excitement, he dropped the bottle, and I gasped in surprise at the sudden sound.
Who's there?
I beg your pardon.
So it is you. No, do not move.
I didn't mean to spy on you. I fell asleep.
Who are you, monsieur?
I am John Vansittart Smith, a student of Egyptology.
No matter. You will observe this knife.
Yes?
Had I discovered you 5 minutes ago, monsieur, I should have slain you without a word.
What?
As it is now, I have found the ring. But I warn you not to interfere with me in any way.
I really haven't the slightest intention of it. After all, I'm only here by accident.
Perhaps.
I say, you shouldn't have unwrapped that mummy, you know. It's starting to deteriorate already.
Oh, my beloved.
Yes, before our eyes,
Years have
the
been
lovely
unkind
face was
to my
crumbling,
beloved.
the hair falling away, the skin shriveling and cracking, the lips fading. The man hovered over the decaying body a moment, murmuring sorrowfully. And then he turned again.
No matter. That will not make the least difference in a little while. Of what importance is the dead shell, so long as her spirit waits for me at the other side of the veil?
What are you talking about? What is it you're proposing to do?
Tonight, monsieur, I have ended a quest and broken at last the ancient curse. Nothing now can prevent my joining her.
Are you actually claiming that you knew her?
She was Atma, daughter of the governor of Abaris, and both she and I lived in the reign of Tutmosis 3,500 years ago.
You're obviously mad.
Perhaps, but not in the way you think. There may be design in this, your coming here. It may be decreed that I should leave some account behind as a warning to other mortals as rash as myself. Very well, then. So be it. I am, as you surmised, an Egyptian. My name was Sasra, and my father had been the chief priest of Osiris in the great temple of Abaris, which stood in those days upon the Bubastic branch of the Nile. I was brought up in the temple and was trained in all those mystic arts and sciences known to the priesthood. Of all the mysteries that I studied, none intrigued me more than the question of life and death. And even to this question, in time, I found an answer.
But for a man to live beyond his allotted span of years, Master Sastra, the gods have not so ordained it.
Then perhaps they will have to revise their ordinances now that I've discovered their secret.
'Tis not well to jest. I tremble, for though I've labored in your service for a year, I knew not the goal of your endeavors. May Osiris forgive me.
Ah, what a pity you look upon it this way. For I'd thought that in return for your assistance, I should grant you, too, the gift of centuries of indestructible life.
I would not have it, Master Sastra, and I beg that you, too, forgo it.
Forgo it? I introduced the fluid into my veins 1 month ago.
Oh, no. Then you are lost indeed.
Lost? Do you call this being lost? Let's see now. My heart should be about here.
Oh, that knife. No, don't. Master, you've killed yourself.
Not at all. See? It bleeds a little. But in a while, the wound will close up. And that's all.
It's immortality.
No, I shall not live forever. But for 5,000, perhaps 6,000 years, I shall be immune from all dangers of violence, poison, disease, starvation.
You cannot die?
Now, with this fluid in my veins, nothing in this world can end my life.
Dothra, are you there?
Someone calls.
It's Parmes, the priest of Thoth. In here, my friend. Enter.
Oh, greetings, Sorcerer, master of sciences, and his worthy assistant.
If you will excuse me, masters, I go to make my peace with Osiris.
What's wrong with your helper, Sorcerer?
The thought of a well-nigh eternal life has frightened him into gibbering superstition.
Then you still believe in the discovery?
Believe in it? Parmes, my friend. Look.
By the heavens, what a scar.
It pierces the heart. It was done only a moment ago with this knife. See? I can put it back in the wound. So.
You suffered no ill effects?
None whatever.
And if I turned the knife in the wound, that would do you no harm?
You may try it. I feel nothing. I walked last week in the snake pits by the river, was struck innumerable times. It caused no harm.
By the great Anubis.
Will you have it then? Out of all Egypt, I have chosen only you, my friend, to share the gift. But the choice is yours.
I'd be a fool to refuse, Sorcerer. I'll have it. And now, what must I do?
First, we must open a vein in your wrist, like this.
Oh.
Then, we drip the elixir slowly into your bloodstream. Steady now.
I don't feel anything.
There is no sensation. It is done.
So simple? There is nothing more?
That's all. And now done, it can never be changed.
It seems incredible, supernatural.
It's no more than a chemical discovery, but with it, while all this about us passes away, you and I, Parmes, will live on for 50 centuries. Think of it, my friend. 5,000 years of life.
5,000 years. Only the two of us.
Listen, that noise. Some procession must be passing in the street.
I have an idea what it may be. Come on over to the window.
Clear the road, stand back, and make way for the loveliest pearl of Thebes.
She's being carried on the shoulders of slaves, Parmes. She must be some woman of rank.
Her name is Atma. She's the daughter of the new governor.
Her curtains are drawn back. Perhaps we'll have a look at her. Oh, Parmes.
Mm-hmm. Is she not beautiful?
She is the most desirable, the only utterly desirable woman I've ever seen in my life.
Yes. I saw her yesterday at the temple.
Then you're most fortunate, my friend. You've had 24 more hours to dream about her than I have had. I must know her, Parmes. I must make her love me. I'll send gifts. I'll call on her tomorrow. Oh, it has to be then. I couldn't wait any longer than tomorrow.
A visitor calls upon the beloved of the universe. He is Sasra, priest of the temple of Osiris.
Well, bid him approach.
Enter, Sasra.
Oh, most beautiful of all Egypt, I cast myself at your feet.
That's a noble ambition. But wouldn't it be much better to sit here beside me and watch the fish in the fountain?
Much better.
You will all withdraw, except you, my girl. Play something for us, at a distance. Well, Sasra, for so I understand you're called, am I to deem this an official visit by a master of the temple?
Oh, Atma, my beloved. That is, no, it is not official.
Oh? Perhaps then you wish to see my father on personal business of your own.
Oh, no. No. I shall pay my respects to him at some other time.
Then could it be I you've come to see?
Yes. Yes.
And since you've said the visit's not official, your reason must be a personal one.
Oh, it is.
Well, what is it?
Atma, I have known women who are famed for their beauty throughout the valley of the Nile. But not one, not all of them, are so lovely as you.
How thoughtful of you to come here and tell me.
Atma, I've no wish to intrude my desires, my hopes, beyond such extent as you may wish to hear. But, I'm finding this very difficult.
Sasra, I've been told that you're a master of science, that you've unlocked the secrets of the universe, learned all the mysteries of nature itself.
Your informants have been most generous.
Yes, I'm inclined to think so.
What?
Because you've discovered nothing at all about such a simple thing as a woman's heart.
What do you mean?
I come from Thebes, and the women of Thebes are warm-blooded, passionate, and we know what we want.
Atma.
I saw you first 3 days ago. Why do you think I told my bearers to carry me down that street beneath your window?
And so, miracle of all miracles, Atma loved me. Worshipping the very ground her feet had trod upon, I lived through those glorious weeks, and with it all, our love grew apace. But one thing bore heavily upon my mind, and I came to speak of it more often to my beloved as we sat and talked by the fountain in her garden.
Look, Sasra. See how the stars shine from the water?
Yes, Atma. More lovely even than their glow in the heavens.
Are they very old, the stars?
Very old, beloved. As old as time.
And they'll go on gleaming there, long years after you and I are gone and forgotten.
Atma, my dearest, we've talked of this before, and I know it distresses you to think of it.
No, Sasra. Tonight everything is beautiful. We shall not talk of death.
Not of death, but of life. They're only counterparts of one another.
Oh, if we could only live together, grow old together, and die in the same instant.
But how much better to live and love 5,000 years? Will you not do it? Does so long a time seem too great for the love you feel for me?
Beloved, no. The time would pass in an instant, and the loss then be no easier borne than now.
Then why draw back? Will you not take the elixir now, tonight?
I'm afraid, Sasra. We'll anger the gods.
We will outlive the gods.
They will have their revenge.
Whatever occurred, we'd be together.
Yes, I've thought of that. Were it not so, I'd not even consider doing it.
Then you'll do it. Atma, you'll do it.
I need more time, only a little more to assure myself.
How much?
Tonight, Sasra. Give me tonight.
Every hour you live without the elixir is another hazard. All right, then. Tonight. And may Isis herself guard over you until the fluid courses in your veins. And so, on that accursed night, I went to my chambers and slept. And while I slept, the moon of Isis shone over the delta of the Nile. Shone but to light as foul a scene as was ever done on earth. Some hours had passed away.
Master Sasra, awaken! Master, awaken at once.
You know, who is it?
Oh, what a terrible thing has
Let me turn
transpired
up the
this
lamp.
night.
You're one of Atma's slaves. Why do you come here?
Oh, Master, Master.
What has happened? What's the matter? Speak.
It is she, the light of the world.
Tell me what has happened to her.
Master. Brigands came in the night. She is dead.
You lie. You lie.
Oh, Sasra, the slave speaks the truth.
Parmes, my friend. What foul joke's behind these words of his?
It's not a joke. Atma is dead. You, slave, depart from us.
Yes, masters. By your gracious leave, I depart.
Such a thing cannot be. Oh, of course. The two of you planned it together, sought to frighten me out of my wits. It's very amusing, really. But I was terrified for a moment.
Atma no longer lives. She was stabbed to death only a short while ago.
No. Oh, no. She can't be dead.
She is dead, Sosra, and for all eternity.
I must go to her. Surely something can be done.
I killed her.
What is it? What has happened?
I killed her.
Oh.
I struck her through the heart with this very knife.
You, Parmes. Why?
Because she loved you.
Why?
And because I loved her.
You, my friend.
She would not look at me.
And for that, you would lose her to both of us forever?
To both of us, Sosra? I think not.
By the living Osiris, give me that knife.
That's it. Strike. Again. Here's the heart. Here, strike. Again and again, Sosra.
Wait. What foolishness. I cannot kill you.
You're wrong, Sosra. You have killed me. Those were grievous blows.
But the fluid, that cursed elixir of life, it runs in your veins as well as mine.
True. But in mine is also the antidote.
You lie. There is no antidote.
Yes, day and night, these many weeks, I've worked, and I found it.
You couldn't have. Is there more of it?
Yes, a very little. But you'll never find it.
Where is it? Tell me where it is.
In the ring, Sosra. In the ring of Thoth, and you'll never find it.
I will, I must.
Go on, live. Live your 50 centuries. And every hour of them, think. It was your hand that struck me down with the same knife that took her from you. Think while I go to join her.
Oh, no. You're not dead. You're not! No! 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 For months, I searched the papers, test tubes, and the chemical flasks in the chambers of the dead priest of Thoth. Searched and found nothing. I sifted the sands where he'd walked, questioned his slaves and servants, and learned nothing. Every moment of my life, my terrible and unwanted life, was devoted to an unceasing hunt for the ring of Thoth, and all to no avail. And in time, a horde of barbarians overran the city of Abaris. And the sands of the desert buried forever the last of my hopes. And so began the deadly march of the centuries. How can you know how terrible a thing time is? You, who've experienced only the narrow course between the cradle and the grave. I've floated down the whole stream of history. I have traveled in all lands, and I have dwelt with all nations. Every tongue is the same to me. I need not tell you how slowly the centuries drifted by. Centuries without end. Years without number. And so, I came to be one day, a few weeks past, in San Francisco, where I came across a certain item in a newspaper.
Among recent discoveries in Lower Egypt is an unopened mummy case containing, according to the inscription on the outside, the body of the daughter of the governor of Abaris in the days of Tutmosis. In the same burial crypt, dropped into a crevice between the stones, was found a large platinum ring of singular design. Both specimens have been sent for examination to the Louvre in Paris.
So, I presume you came here to Paris, obtained this position of attendant in the Louvre with the idea of...
Only yesterday, Monsieur Smith. As you may imagine, I had little difficulty in convincing the director of my knowledge of Egyptian relics.
The ring, then. The one I saw you remove from the case is the ring of Thoth?
Without question.
You've discovered how the ring must be used?
The secret is obvious. See, the stone is hollow, and drops of liquid move within it.
Have you considered the possibility that this antidote may not perform the function which has been claimed for it?
It will, monsieur. And there'll be no need of a knife to strike me down. My death was due in a time long past, and only this damnable fluid that runs through my veins supports the weight of my years. I delay no longer. I go to join her where she waits for me in death.
No, don't. Oh.
Too late. I've broken the gem. I've taken the antidote.
I stood and watched him with a terrible fascination, but without pity and without compassion. He turned away from me and reeled toward the mummy he'd left on the table across the room. But even as he turned, the parchment skin of his face cracked and shredded. Discolored lips shriveled away from the yellow teeth. The vitreous eyes withered into nubs of formless plasm, and the full weight of his 3,500 years descended on him in an instant. I left that room of death and walked over the marble floors toward the exit, my footsteps echoing through the empty halls, even as they had echoed for so long in the corridors of time. And I wondered as I walked if Sosra knew now what I knew, that the antidote in the ring of Thoth can bring death to the body, but not to the soul. And I wondered in what cloak of flesh his spirit now dwelt, just as I, Parmes, priest of Thoth, had for the last 40 years of my 3,500 dwelt in the body of John Vansittart Smith.
Doctor, he's so little and so red.
Well, now, he's only 2 days old.
But he doesn't look a bit like either his father or me.
Give him time, my dear. All babies look pretty much alike when they're first born.
Well, I don't know. His eyes or... It's silly, of course, but he looks like an Egyptian.
Produced and directed by William N. Robeson, The Ring of Thoth by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle was adapted for radio by Les Crutchfield, with Jack Webb as Sosra, Thomas Freebairn Smith as Vansittart Smith, and Joan Banks as Atma. The special musical score was conceived and conducted by Cy Feuer. Escape is presented by the Columbia Broadcasting System and its affiliated stations each week at this time. Next week, we invite you to escape to a raft in the South Pacific with John Russell in his unforgettable story of human frailty, The Fourth Man. And so good night until next week at this time, when again it will be time to escape. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Escape. Escape tonight to Paris of 500 years ago.
The Columbia Broadcasting System and its affiliated stations presents Escape, a new series of programs, of which this, the fifth, is The Sire De Maletroit's Door, by Robert Louis Stevenson, produced and directed by William N. Robeson. The pen of Robert Louis Stevenson has been an avenue of escape for 3 generations. Our grandparents thrilled to the macabre metamorphosis of Dr. Jekyll, just as we will never forget the nursery menace called Long John Silver. Tonight we escape with Robert Louis Stevenson down another avenue, which leads to Paris in 1429, and the amazing adventure of the Sire de Maletroit's Door.
Dark of the Moon, 1429, Paris. The House of Burgundy holds the throne of France, and English men-at-arms patrol the narrow streets. Troublous times for any man to be lost, on foot, at night. Psst! You there! Over here by the wall.
What's this? Now the shadows themselves are speaking.
I'm no shadow.
A real live human being.
I've managed to get myself lost in these confounded alleys. Can you tell me where I am?
Well, now, a fine young cavalier, no less. And he's lost.
I'm trying to find the Beau-Saint Inn. Will this street lead me there?
Lad, one street is as good as another, and none of them will ever lead a man anywhere.
Oh, come now. You must know something about this part of Paris. Think, man, a patrol may pass at any moment.
You are wanted, then.
I have a safe conduct pass from the captain of the garrison.
Safe conduct, he says. And to find what a good that'll do you here in the dark of the night.
Well, you're certainly not helping my chances any.
No, lad. The only safe conduct you have is that sword is swinging at your side.
Wait, quiet. A patrol. They're coming this way.
I'm inclined to think you're right.
I've got to run for it. Tell them nothing.
When I should tell what to whom?
Wait, halt! Someone's there. Speak up. Who are you?
Speak up, is it? And you a blundering pack of 2-day grenadiers that walk like a herd of cattle, such as me? Speak up. That served with the mad Prince Charlie himself. May he rest in peace.
An old campaigner, eh? Hey, where you from, soldier?
Fontainebleau, from a smarter outfit in bivouac than the likes of you in quarters.
A bit in the scup, sir, man. Seen anybody about, old-timer?
Naught but shadows and tankards of ale. Fine French cavalier who departed hence without a bio leave just now.
Where'd he go?
Oh, who knows? Perhaps he went one way, maybe the other. Though I think it was the other there.
All right, men. Arms. French cavalier, huh? We'll have him like a fowl in a spit. Spread out. Cover the street. Keep an eye out. Don't let him slip away between you. Forward now. Search every corner.
Oh, the fool. The drunken fool. I'm for it now, all right. This cross street. There's a bare chance they'll pass it by. If I can only get through here. Oh, no. Oh, no. It's a dead end, unless this leads... No, it's only the door to a house. Caught like a rat in a trap. All right. If it's so written, then so be it. With a bit of luck, there'll be 2 or 3 go with me. Huh? The door. It's unlocked. I can push it open. Black as the mouth of hell inside. Well, what have I got to lose? There.
Come alive now. You have to be here someplace. Open up that door, you dog! Can't you see the crest above it?
He's not here. He's gone.
There he has. Didn't come in here after all. All right, back to the corner. He's a sly one for sure.
That was close. Too close. Now to get out of here, and no one in the house will ever be the wiser. Huh? What's this? The door's locked. Well, it's a trap. But why? Why would such a thing be done? I came in here by chance, one chance against a million. Wait. It's a light. Somewhere inside the house. Well, by all rights, I should be dead at this moment. So...
Come in, young man. I've been expecting you all evening.
I fear you must be mistaken, sir. My visit is quite unexpected for both of us.
That's good. That's very good. For the both of us, you say. Well, no matter. You're here. That's the main point. Take a seat, my boy. Put yourself at ease. We'll arrange our little affairs presently.
There seems to be some misunderstanding. You see, your door was standing...
Oh, the door. Ah, that was a little piece of ingenuity. Don't you agree?
So you must know that I had no intention of intruding without an invitation.
Without an invitation, is it? Well, we old people are used to such reluctance. When it touches our honor, we cast about until we find some way of overcoming it. And so, my boy, invitation or not, you are, believe me, most welcome.
I hope you'll pardon my saying it, but I haven't the slightest idea what you're talking about.
Oh, so that's it. Dead to rights, but still pretending, eh? Ah, you're a clever rogue.
Sir,
Right.
My name is Denis de Beaulieu. I am not a guest in your house by my own choice, and I am not accustomed to being
Nor is the house of Maletroit accustomed to certain things, of which you well know.
Maletroit? I should have expected better treatment at the hands of one of the most honored families of France.
Honored indeed, until you, Monsieur de Beaulieu, took it upon yourself to dishonor us.
Sire De Maletroit, I have attempted to explain that I took a stand before your door to fight off a patrol which I'd encountered in the street. I assure you I had no slight intention of forcing myself Since it seems impossible for you to converse with any degree of reason, may I bid you good night? Sir, if you have your right wits, then you're insulting me grossly. And if not, I have no desire to spend further time with a lunatic.
You young fool. Thinking to get away so easily.
No power on earth can make me stay here any longer, even if I'm forced to hack that door of yours to pieces.
I me. And now, will you please sit down, my dear nephew?
Nephew? You lie in your teeth.
I said sit down. You think for a minute that I made a little contrivance for the door and stopped short with that? If you want to be bound hand and foot till your bones crack inside of you, then get up. Try to get away. But if you'd rather stay a free young buck, agreeably conversing with an old gentleman, sit where you are in peace.
You mean, then, I am a prisoner here?
I stated the facts. Draw your own conclusion. Ah, Père Francois, come in.
Thank you, Messiah.
Tell me, how is she? A little better frame of mind, I hope?
She is more resigned, at least, Messiah.
Well, now, isn't she hard to please? A likely stripling such as this, well-born, and her own choice. What more would the jade dwarf have,
If you'll pardon, the situation is not usual for a young damsel. It is somewhat trying to her blushes.
Trying, is it? Ha! She should have thought of that before the dance began. She called the turns, and now she'll do the pay.
At the risk of being presumptuous, may I ask who she is?
Ha! You hear that, Père Francois? Monsieur de Beaulieu wishes to know who she is.
I heard, Messiah.
I am pleased that you find my most casual remark so amusing.
So, you'd like to know who she is. Very well. After all, you really should know, young fella. It's only fitting for you to be introduced properly. Come along. I'll take you into she, all right. Why, that's the reason I planned the whole thing. You stubborn young scoundrelly blackguard. Come along, my boy. Right through this door.
After you, sir, if you don't mind.
Oh, no. It's not that kind of a trap. Ah, here we are. How are you, my dear?
Oh, please, Uncle. Please have some pity on me.
Pity? But I do a great deal more than you've shown for the name of Maletroit. Come now, up off your knees and look at the friend I brought you. It's good to be devout, but it is also necessary to be polite.
I have no understanding how you can be so vicious.
Oh, that's very unkind. And now, Monsieur de Beaulieu, since we've decided to keep up this farce, allow me to present my niece, Blanche de Maletroit.
It's such an inhuman thing, surely heaven itself. He's not the man. My uncle, this is not the man.
Expected you to say as much, my dear. Is it so unfortunate you couldn't remember his name?
But it's true. I swear by the Blessed Virgin, I do not know this man. Never laid eyes on him before. Please, sir, tell him. Tell him we've never seen each other before.
For myself, at any rate, I've never had that pleasure. Sire, I've not met your lovely niece before this moment.
Oh, now isn't that too bad? But it's never too late to begin. Quite often these impromptu marriages turn out very well in the end.
Marriage? Sire de Maletroit, would you please be kind enough to explain what you mean?
Aha, now, surely you've heard of the custom of marriage. It's quite widely practiced.
At least, sir, I've never heard before of such a maniac as I perceive you to be. And I've no intention of marrying anyone.
Then may I ask what were your intentions, my boy? Oh, well, no matter now. Père Francois is looking forward to performing the nuptial rites. Oh, he's quite properly ordained, you know. So, shall we say, in 2 hours? Meanwhile, I suggest you become better acquainted.
Wait. Uncle, you can't be in earnest. I swear to you I'll kill myself before I'll be forced on this young man.
Forced? Oh, come now, my dear Blanche.
Is it possible that you think I'm lying? That you still believe this is the man?
Frankly, I do.
Well, then you're wrong.
I refuse utterly even to consider
Enough, my dear. You took it upon yourself to dishonor the name of our family. You forfeited all right whatsoever to question my designs. I consider it a duty to see that you're married with as little delay as possible. Out of the goodness of my heart, I've attempted to find the man of your choice. And I believe I've done so. But if not, then I care not one jackstraw. Is that perfectly clear?
It's clear, sir, that you're a madman.
Perhaps, my dear nephew.
I'm not your nephew, nor will I be.
I'd sooner die 1,000 times.
Such a fury against the inevitable. But at any rate, you'll have 2 hours to compose your differences. Père Francois, bring the clock.
Very well, Messiah.
Thank you. Place it there. This, Monsieur de Beaulieu, is another of my little contrivances, and one that is hardly less ingenious than my door.
Messiah, your accomplishments are of no interest to me whatsoever.
Oh, I think you'll find this one most interesting. You will notice that the upper container is filled with water. In exactly 2 hours, all of the water will have dripped into the lower vessel, and at that time, I shall return. Remove the plug, Père Francois. Clever, isn't it? Well, genius is so rarely appreciated. And now I'm quite sure you'd sooner carry on your interview without an audience.
You'd never met my uncle before? He didn't arrange this with you?
I'd never laid eyes on him. And certainly nothing was arranged with me, else I wouldn't be here.
Oh, then you're as much an unfortunate victim as myself.
But you at least must be more aware of the circumstances. I can understand none of this.
It's not an easy thing for a girl to tell. Whatever you may think of me now, I fear you shall think the worse when I've finished.
Words are but words. But your manner encourages respect.
Thank you, monsieur. I've lived all my life with my uncle, and I've not been happy. 3 months ago, a young captain of the guard began to stand near me in the church. Oh, you must understand. I gave him no encouragement to do so.
Oh, quite so, I understand. He was handsome, of course.
As a matter of fact, very. After a while, he began to pass me notes. He found me pleasing, wanted to meet me, and seemed most interested in me for some reason.
I can believe that.
This morning, he passed me a note urging me to leave the outer door open tonight so that he could speak a few words with me on the stairs. Oh, this is most difficult for me to tell, monsieur. I'm sure he meant no harm. I've no idea how my uncle came to suspect. Sometimes his shrewdness becomes almost diabolical. After church, he took that note from my hand, read it, gave it back to me. I've been kept in my room all day, knowing nothing of what he might be planning.
So that's it. By pure accident, I've blundered into a trap set for someone else.
Had my uncle brought the captain himself, the thing still would have been confusing. How should I know that he may not have been trifling with me all along? But to be forced into a situation with you, a perfect stranger...
Your regard for me is quite clear, mademoiselle. I regret appearing as a disappointment to you. I believe you said he was very handsome?
If that were all.
There's more?
I mean, monsieur, that you yourself are quite handsome. But it's so... Oh, no, it's really no use.
Well, please understand me. I'm not urging you in any way.
Urging, monsieur?
I'm accustomed to meeting young ladies upon occasion who are quite ready to accept me as something beside a convenient substitute for some handsome captain of the guard.
I've no doubt of it, monsieur. And to correct a mistaken impression you seem to have, I'm well aware that you're doing no urging. And were you to do so, I should neither listen to nor give it any consideration whatsoever. It's well that we both understand one another.
Quite so. And that being the case, Mademoiselle de Maletroit, I wonder if you'll be good enough to conduct me to your uncle.
With the greatest of pleasure, monsieur.
I've no doubt but what this little matter can be settled very quickly, and with as much honor as possible to everybody concerned.
The full 2 hours weren't necessary. Already harmonious accord rises triumphant.
On the contrary, Sire De Maletroit, your assumption is entirely false.
Oh, what a pity. Well, Père Francois, there's nothing to it. We'll simply have to wait a while longer.
As you say, Messiah.
I fear it may be much longer than you think. In fact, forever.
That's a very long time indeed. And you, my dear niece, what are your sentiments in the matter?
I will not marry this man. Do what you may, uncle, I will not marry him.
Right back where we started. Can it be that our young friend is lacking in perception, Père Francois?
It is possible, Messiah.
I'm not at any rate lacking in a sense of honorable conduct. Dragged in here against my will, I've addressed your niece in the manner of a gentleman. I found her charming, lovely, delightful.
Monsieur.
But now I have the honor of declining your offer of her hand. Let that end the matter.
Oh, it's not as simple as that. Take a look from my window there, and tell me what you see on the wall beneath it.
What do you mean?
See for yourself.
Whatever it is can have no bearing on the matter. There's an iron ring set in the wall.
Quite so, and fastened to the ring?
A rope.
Right. So we have two elements, and to complete our little diagram, we need a third one. That element is, at the moment, firmly attached to your body. I'm referring, sir, to your neck.
Uncle, no.
And may I inquire the purpose of the dogs there in the courtyard below? Are they also a part of your devilish plans?
My dear young man, a body doesn't hang in ropes forever, you know.
You maniac. Even murder doesn't stop you.
Ooh, that's such a nasty word. Let us confine ourselves to the bald facts. At the end of your 2 hours, you will prepare yourself either to marry my niece or to kick out your life while you swing at the end of that rope. There's no other alternative.
I think there's one. Between gentlemen, at any rate. Arm yourself, sir.
You fool. You think for a moment that if I'd regarded your sword as a threat, you'd still be wearing it? Père Francois, will you open that door to the passage, please?
Of course, Messiah. I'll be most happy to.
Gentlemen, show this rash young buck the color of your steel. Whether he likes to admit it or not, Monsieur de Beaulieu, one day a man grows too old to fight his own battles and must hire others to do it for him. Close the door, Père Francois.
Then you'll not fight?
Do I seem a fool? There'll be no fighting and no haughty refusal to marry my niece. You found her charming, well and good. But I'll tell you this. Worse as common as the Paris road, more hideous than the gargoyle over my door. You'd not spurn the hand of a Maletroit and never live to tell of it. Alive and married you'll be, or dead and hanging from that window, and soon after, food for the dogs. It's one or the other. So, make up your mind.
Please, Monsieur de Beaulieu, why do you not sit down?
Your concern is most gratifying, mademoiselle. Since I have such a short time to live, I doubt that I'll grow very tired.
If the time be short, then why do we waste it in formal speeches?
As you will. Listen to it. Drip, drip, drip of that devilish clock, like an artery opened and life's blood itself dripping away.
Well, I've sat here and thought until my whole mind's in a great whirl.
Please, you really shouldn't trouble yourself so much.
I can't bear to have you slain for my sake. Monsieur de Beaulieu, I will marry you gladly.
You must think, then, that I stand very much in fear of death.
Oh, no. I've had reason to see that you're no coward.
I've asked for no pity. If a thing has to be, then that's the end of it.
Oh, sir, you misunderstood me. Why, the great nobility with which you faced my uncle should have removed all question about your bravery had such doubts existed.
That is most kind of you to say so.
Not, of course, that anyone could raise such questions once they'd seen you.
Death's another incident. That's all.
Oh, but life's a better one. You'll agree, then?
I'm afraid you underrate the difficulty. What your generosity offers me, my pride prevents accepting. In this moment of noble feeling toward me, aren't you forgetting what you already owe to someone else?
Monsieur! He never really mattered.
Mademoiselle, my very life's the forfeit here. One I'll pay gladly if it be of service to a lady, but to tell me it's for something that never really mattered.
Please don't be so cruel.
Cruel, you forget. I'm the one who's going to die, not you.
I've not forgotten, monsieur.
Yes. You'll enjoy tomorrow's sun like any other days. And tomorrow night, perhaps you'll see him again. And of course, I'll be forgotten.
Oh, no, never.
But it's all a man can expect when he's born into the world, death at last. And some piece of ironic misfortune.
Oh, don't say those things. I can't bear it.
Oh, if I've said anything to wound you, I'm sorry. It was for your own sake, not mine.
Thank you.
Please. It's a bitter thing, my dear, to see you in such distress that giving my life itself for you can't help it.
I'm sorry. I'll try to be braver. Is there no way at all in which I can serve you? Either now or afterwards?
Only by letting me think of you as a friend for the brief time that's left to us. By forgetting for the moment that I'm an awkward intruder thrown here by circumstance. That's all.
And afterward?
What does it matter? The closer you come to it, the clearer you see that death's no more than a dark and dusty corner where a man climbs into his tomb and shuts the door after himself.
Oh, monsieur.
I've only a few friends now. And once I'm dead, I've no doubt that I'll have none.
You forget Blanche de Maletroit.
You're very sweet. Any young man in France would be glad to trade places with me and die for you. You value the small service I do you far beyond its worth.
I'll not have you thinking so meanly of yourself. Look at me. Would you say that I am beautiful?
I think the most beautiful girl I've ever seen.
I'm glad of that. Tell me, is there a man in France who can say he's been asked in marriage by a beautiful maiden, asked from her own lips, and refused her to her face?
Oh, no.
I know you're a man and half despise such a triumph. But any woman knows more of what's precious in love.
But remember, you asked me out of the pity of your heart, not for love.
Oh, you're so sure of that. Must I bear my very soul like a merchant showcase?
You're very good. As good as you're beautiful. I'll not forget it for the time that's left me.
Very well. I, too, have a pride of my own. If you'd turn back now from your word, I'd no more marry you than I would any stranger off the street.
It's a small love that shies at a little pride. The dawn's starting to break.
Yes. My uncle and his men will come here any moment. What shall we say to him?
Anything you will.
Oh. All of my life I'll weep for you. And weep the more because it was you.
If I'm wrong, it's a great price I'm paying for it. One I'd not pay if I didn't care for you so dearly.
Care for me? Oh, no, it's you who are being kind.
It was in the moment your uncle brought me into you and you raised your face to look at me. That's when I knew.
Oh, strange. For it was then I felt it too.
You've seen already that I'm not afraid to die.
Oh, you're not. I know it.
Blanche, is it really true, not something born of pity?
I swear by all that's holy. I love you, Denis.
Oh, my beloved. And I can tell you now that I love you, too.
Even after all you've heard.
I can remember none of it.
The captain's
no
name.
No matter. I love you.
Oh, my darling.
I love you more than my life and my soul. Blanche, my darling, I love you. I love you, Blanche.
Well.
Uncle.
Well. It's most gratifying to see this little matter settle in such a congenial fashion. Good morning, my dear nephew.
I have nothing to say to you, sir. You're a vicious and unprincipled old man.
Oh, that's most ungracious of you. No. At the very worst, I'm no more than a very wise old man. One who's lived a long time and seen a great many remarkable things. An old man who's learned all about such mysteries as the love of life and love.
The Sire De Maletroit's Door by Robert Louis Stevenson was adapted for radio by Les Crutchfield and produced and directed by William N. Robeson, with Elliot Lewis as Denis, Peggy Weber as Blanche, and Ramsey Hill as the Sire De Maletroit. The special musical score was conceived and conducted by Cy Feuer. Escape is presented by the Columbia Broadcasting System and its affiliated stations each week at this time. Next week, we invite you to escape to Egypt of 3,500 years ago with Arthur Conan Doyle's fascinating tale of the Ring of Thoth. And so good night until next week at this time, when again it will be time to escape. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.